The leaks for chapter 355 get pretty wild. In this video, we see the game starting, and Blue Lock seems to be taking it pretty aggressively from the start, but I know you guys don't like being spoiled, so you will have to wait to know more. However, trust me, the ending after that is just insane. But so as not to waste any time, let's get right into it. Alright, so chapter 355 starts off with the text saying, the U20 Group World Cup, a final match between Japan and England, officially kicks off amidst massive global anticipation. Stepping onto the pitch, Teddy Knight coldly reiterates his identity, stating, I am a trash doll. I'm still so interested to learn more about that identity of his, and why he thinks of himself as a trash doll. Also, a heads up, the panels are like gone, and I can't find them, so I'm only having the text to go by. Anyway, let's continue. To Teddy's left, we see England's Aggie, who approaches Teddy, greeting him by calling it a long time. Teddy just casually replies by asking Aggie if he remembers him from somewhere. Now there's a chance that we get to know from where in the officials tomorrow since this text leaked, but still, I can't seem to wonder where they know each other from, since it's probably not that they play in the same club, since Aggie told him that it was a long time ago. We then move to the sidelines, where we see England's coach, who is called Fox. Fox confidently laughs at Ego, mocking the Japan Football Association as idiots. Now this was actually wild. I wasn't sure, but I was hoping that Fox would be another new Gen 11 with that cold nickname. But if not, then at least a player. But yeah, I'm guessing that he was just their coach, which I guess is kind of cool, but someone with that nickname, or maybe even straight up name, should for sure have been a player. We continue with Fox as he gloats about their overwhelming superiority, stating it's 0-1. If the coach is foolish, the players are foolish. Now I can't wait for him to just eat these words up, as Fox truly sounds annoying. Someone who shares that thought with me is Ego, who simply smirks back through his glasses, then coldly replies by telling Fox that he can rest assured, and that Ego will make him despair right here. Which once again is Ego being the aura farmer that he is, and just putting Fox in his place right away. It then seems like we get thrown right into the match as it kicks off, and Karasu immediately takes command of Japan's offense, securing the team's tempo. We continue to be by Karasu's side, as we see him running through Ego's tactical mission in his head. Ego explained that it's really basic, and that the finisher in the team is Shidou. Shidou will follow up and disrupt the enemy there. On top of that, he will make himself free, or that's what I was able to gather from that at least. But there doesn't seem to be only a plan for Shidou, as it says that Hiyori will survey the field, preparing to orchestrate the attack utilizing Japan's 4-man diamond formation. But just then, something massive seems to happen as England's center midfielder called Nyan intercepts the ball with blinding speed, shouting at the Blue Lock team by thanking them and calling them full of openings. Now, at times like this, it truly makes me sad to not be able to see the images, because firstly, is he also a speedster just like Teddy? On top of that, I just want to see how cold he looks, and lastly, calling the Blue Lock team full of openings just has so much aura. Anyway, Karasu watches the interception in absolute shock, yelling that there's no way that could happen as England then initiates a rapid counter. However, it then sounds like Karasu manages to get the ball back from Nyan in an instant, and he then knows that he has to act quickly, which he sure does as he orchestrates a counterplay right away by screaming at Zantetsu and telling him to let it flow and to get somewhere else. Zantetsu is able to hear Karasu, and he is probably ecstatic to finally be playing, so he complies in an instant and tells him that he is on board, and then swiftly passes the ball through the defense. The ball luckily finds its way to Shidou. Now Shidou charges into the penalty area and gleefully shouts, 1, 2, infinity. I don't know if it's just me, but I can't imagine Shidou, out of all people, shouting that. It kind of sounds a bit corny, but that might just be me. Anyway, we don't leave Shidou just yet, as we see him smirking right at Teddy, taunting him by telling him that he isn't that bad. Teddy just simply lets out a cold laugh as Shidou then goes to strike the ball, which he sure does, as we see him leaping into the air as he then declares that he will launch a skyscraper drop and executes an insane acrobatic volley. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, sounds way more like Shidou if I do say so myself, but we then get into the text more, as sadly, we see the shot flying towards the net. Teddy perfectly anticipates it and executes a flawless super block, which, once again, I'm just dying to see the panel of, as it sounds extremely cold. By the way, if you ever wonder why I say that these text leaks are not to be trusted, then just listen to the next line, as it says that we see Isagi watching from the bench as he breaks out in a cold sweat. Realizing speed, contact, press, and block, every player's basic potential is incredibly high. Now I'm not sure what the text guy has been smoking on, or if he's even reading the series because, obviously, Isagi isn't on the bench, he is a starter. There's a scenario where it could have been mixed up with Rin, who is in fact sitting on the bench, but we will go with it being Isagi, and that the guy writing this is just a crackhead. Anyway, with that, we head back to Isagi, who perfectly analyzes the absolute wall before them, concluding this is a defensive link. They are being led, and yet the whole team is operating as an impenetrable, synchronized unit. It sounds like he continues, as he thinks that the true nature of the English team is revealed, depicted as a terrifying, impenetrable wall of giant, heavily armored knights towering over the pitch, which right there sounds extremely cold. I can't even lie, having the England team being called armored knights goes extremely hard. Let's then get back into it, as it says that the narration officially introduces this absolute, perfectly synchronized unit as the soldier football team, U20 England. Moving on, we get to England's coach, Fox, who flashes a wicked, teeth-baring grin from the sidelines and proudly declares that he is the 0-1. I'm guessing that he is referring to what he said before about them having a trash coach and all of that stuff he told Ego. With that, we then head over to Teddy, who coldly responds to Fox, telling him, sure, and he starts to show his absolute doll-like obedience to his coach's command. Now let's be honest here, if his whole doll persona is based on him just following his coach's instructions, then it will be a big letdown, as most players follow their coach's instructions, but don't make it their whole personalities. So I really hope that there's something more to this than it being just that. We then move back to Teddy, and here we see him completing his team's terrifying philosophy by stating that they turn one into infinity, which sure, whatever you say bro. The side texts then hype up the massive threat, warning that the British Knights are standing in Japan's way and that a devastating attack from this completely armed corps is about to strike. The chapter officially concludes with a tease for the next chapter, which is going to be called the 7th Night, but of course take that with a grain of salt. Now, from that side text, it does make it sound like England is going on a massive attack right now, and honestly, them getting a goal earlier in the game wouldn't be something that I would be totally against. However, it can also be something way more exciting, as when they attack, we might get to see Kiora in play, and we might find out what his plan against the England team is going to be, because let's be honest, it was super random that he got subbed in, and trust me, I really like Kiora. I love his playstyle and character, so I love having him in, but it was completely left field. With that, let's quickly talk about this chapter a bit. From the text leaks, I thought that it was alright. I'm sure the official will be way better, as right now we have pretty much nothing to go off of and see. However, I'm just afraid that this match will feel a bit empty because of Teddy. Let's talk about him for a bit. He has the same dead personality as pretty much most of the new Gen 11s. However, he feels different and flat out boring. Like Hugo, don't get me wrong, he was extremely monotone at times. However, something with him made him interesting. Probably how he was able to break everything down and his analysis throughout the match. Teddy, for me, doesn't sound like that kind of player. Instead, he just feels really empty. My worry is that, fine, he might be extremely cool, which I won't be against, but that he is really boring. I do hope that if that's the case, then we will see more of Agi, but from the Neo Egoist League, we also know that he isn't the most talkative person either. I wouldn't call him boring, but yeah, we need someone from the England team to actually be somewhat talkative and fun to see. Of course, it's way too early to judge Teddy, and we only have the text after all, but those were just my thoughts. Other than that, the England team sounds pretty cool, and they sound like a real threat to Blue Lock. But those were my thoughts on this chapter. I can't really give a score out of 10, it feels like, because I'm sure that the official chapter will be way better, so I'm just going to leave it as a standard 5, I guess. But please let me know your opinion on all of this, and what you thought about this chapter and everything like that, as I really need some help with gathering my thoughts as well. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like. Also, if you can, hype the video down below, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.